In a previous video, I spoke to you about the importance of audibility, of being heard when you are making a speech or giving a presentation. I also said in that video that something else that's very important that I feel goes hand in hand with audibility is clarity. If you are loud enough, it doesn't matter what you're saying if you're not clear, if your diction isn't clear, if you can't be understood. So it's really important to get the balance of those two things, the clarity and the audibility. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about clarity and also about vocal variety. So the things that you're doing with your voice in order to make sure that you're understood and to make sure that it's interesting and pleasant for your audience to listen to. So in terms of clarity, you can practice various different exercises to ensure that the words that are coming out of your mouth are understood, that you are articulating them clearly. So there are jaw flexibility exercises that you can practice. You can use tongue twisters to ensure that you are making the right sounds, and other exercises that will really encourage you to open your mouth to make those shapes of the sounds so that everything can be clearly understood. I always like to think that when I am presenting, that perhaps there are people in the audience who might be hard of hearing, or perhaps where English is not their first language, and so they're having to listen really hard to what it is that I'm saying. So I make sure that I'm speaking at a reasonable pace, and I'm always very aware that I need to articulate and speak slowly and clearly. And so those are things that you might want to keep in mind as well. Moving on to vocal variety. Now, this is really important for you as a speaker, because if you don't use vocal variety, what happens is it becomes very boring and monotonous to listen to what it is that you are saying. Now, something that I always say is that if I had a box of biscuits and the biscuits were all the same, and I had another box of biscuits and there was a variety of the different biscuits and lots of different flavours to choose from, which one would you go for? And most people will say they would choose to take a biscuit from the variety box because it's more interesting, because there's more choice. And it's the same with vocal variety. The more techniques and strategies that you can use to make your voice sound interesting, the more people are going to want to listen to what it is that you've got to say. So I'm going to give you a few considerations today of the things that you can do with your voice to make it interesting for your listeners. So one of the first things is thinking about the pitch of your voice. Now, just like a musical instrument, your voice has many notes. It has very, very high notes and very, very low notes and everything in between. And so you can think about using the range of your pitch in order to make it interesting for your listeners. So I'm going to give you a simple exercise now. And again, you can do this at the end of this video with your teacher. So if you'd like to write this down. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a little jingle to say. And what you're going to do is you're going to start with the very, very low notes of your voice, and you're going to finish using the very high notes of your voice. But what I don't want you to do is to strain the voice at either end of the pitch. So I don't want you straining with the lower notes, and I don't want sort of any Mickey Mouse notes at the top. So we just want to stay within what's comfortable for you. So this is the phrase that you're going to say. You're going to start off by saying, "It's a miserable day," in a low, miserable voice. Then you're going to say, "It's not a nice day," a little higher, but still not your normal speaking voice. Then you're going to say, "Good morning," and you're going to say that in your normal speaking voice. Then you're going to say, "It's a better day," slightly higher than your normal speaking voice. And then you're going to finish with, "It's a great day," with a nice high pitch, excited voice to finish. So you can see how the emotions there of what I was saying affected the pitch that I used when I said it. So I'm going to put all that together and then you can do it yourselves afterwards. It's a miserable day. It's not a nice day. Good morning. It's a better day. It's a great day. And you can play around with that. You've got 5 lines there. So you can think of any situation where you might start miserable or fed up or bored and finish with a more excited, happy, any other emotion that you think lends itself to using the higher notes of your voice. So you can devise one of those for yourself and practice that with your friends. So that just illustrates for you how you can play around with pitch. The other things that you need to consider when thinking about vocal variety are the pace of what you're saying. You know, there might be some points in what you're saying that you want to emphasize, and so you might slow down. Take them slowly to make more of an impact. There are other parts of what you're saying where you might want to get a sense of excitement across, and so you could build up the pace there to get to what it is that you're saying next. Similarly, tone is something else that I want you to think about today. Now, we have tone amount and we have tone quality. Now, the tone amount is really the volume of what it is that you're saying. So are we going to speak softly? Or are we going to speak very loudly and forcefully? What is the message that you're trying to convey? And tone quality is the emotion and the feeling behind what it is that you say. And that's something else that's really important to put into your vocal work. So a lot for you to think about there in terms of clarity and vocal variety and playing around with what your voice can do.